Hello, my beautiful viewers and subscribers. Grab your snacks, get comfortable, and come sit down with me for a while. Because today's story is one of those stories that will have you saying, Girl, I knew something wasn't right from the beginning. Today, we're talking about a man who didn't just break a woman's heart, disappoint her, and walked away from a relationship. According to Macy's story, he also walked away with her money, leaving her still sitting there trying to figure out how somebody she trusted so deeply could turn around and make her feel completely used. And before we get into this story, my viewers, I want you to stay with me all the way to the end because there are several moments in this story where you might find yourself thinking, I would have left right there, only to realize that when you're emotionally involved with someone, things are not always as easy to see as they would be when you're watching somebody else's relationship from the outside. So let's start from the very beginning. My girl Macy was beautiful, intelligent, independent, and like many of us, she was simply looking for somebody she could genuinely connect with and eventually build something meaningful with. Then she met Tim. Now, according to Macy, Tim looked like the complete package when she first met him. He was a music industry promoter who seemed to know everybody. He had connections. He always seemed to know where the parties and events were happening. And because he was also an ex-soldier from another country, he carried himself with this tough, confident, rugged energy that made Macy feel like she was around somebody who could protect her. And let me tell you something, my viewers. When somebody comes into your life with confidence, charm, attention, and that feeling that they somehow understand you better than everybody else, it can be very easy to become emotionally attached before you have actually taken the time to figure out who that person really is. From the very beginning, the chemistry between Tim and Macy was intense, and Tim seemed to know exactly what to say and exactly how to make her feel special, beautiful, wanted, and appreciated. And let's just say the physical chemistry between these two was very strong. Macy felt like she had found somebody who could give her the emotional connection she wanted and the physical connection she definitely enjoyed. And because everything seemed so exciting in those early days, she started believing that maybe Tim really was the man she had been waiting for. She was actually talking to another guy when Tim came into the picture. But once Tim started showing her attention, making her feel special and giving her all those butterflies that can make you feel like you have finally met somebody different, Macy quickly lost interest in the other man. She basically thought Tim was that guy. This is it. This is my man. This could actually be the person I spend my future with. And my subscribers, this is the part of the story where I want you to remember something, because sometimes the person who eventually hurts you does not walk into your life looking like a villain. Sometimes they walk in looking like everything you have been asking for. Sometimes they know exactly what you want to hear, exactly how much attention to give you, exactly when to make you feel special, and exactly how to make you believe that the connection you're experiencing is something rare. And that is what makes situations like this so dangerous, because when you're falling for somebody, you aren't always looking at their behavior through clear eyes. You're looking at their behavior through your feelings, your hopes, your attraction, and the future you had already started imagining with them. And unfortunately, for Macy, that was only the beginning. Now, my viewers and subscribers, this is where I really want you to start paying attention, because everything I am about to tell you is exactly why you should never allow strong chemistry to replace good judgment when you're getting to know someone. At first, everything between Macy and Tim seemed to be going well, and because Macy was already emotionally invested, she wasn't looking at every little thing he did with suspicion. Then Tim came to her with what sounded like a business opportunity. He told Macy that he was putting together a major music event and that everything was coming together nicely, but there was one problem. He was short on money and needed some financial help to get everything moving. And eventually, Tim asked Macy to lend him money. Now, my viewers, imagine being in Macy's position for a second. You're dating somebody you really like. You're excited about where the relationship could go, but at the same time, you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, why am I being asked to finance this man's business when we haven't even been together that long? That little uncomfortable feeling was there, and Macy knew it. Something inside her was telling her to slow down, but Tim kept talking. He reassured her. He promised that she would get her money back. He made it sound like this wasn't just his business anymore, but something they were building together, because in the words and his behavior, they were a team. And when you're emotionally attached to somebody, those words can have a powerful effect, because you don't necessarily hear give me money. Instead, you hear I trust you, I need you, we're building something together, you're supporting me because you are my woman. And that is exactly how Macy ended up ignoring the warning signs that had already started appearing. She trusted him, she believed his promises, and eventually she handed over the money. Now, my viewers, I want to stop here because I really want you to participate in this story rather than simply sitting there and listening to me talk. If a man you had only been dating for a short period of time came to you and asked you for a large amount of money for a business opportunity, would you help him because you believed in him? Or would you immediately tell him that his business is his responsibility and that you weren't comfortable mixing money with a new relationship? I genuinely want to know what you have done. So leave what you would have done. So leave your answer in the comments, because I know we're going to have some very interesting opinions under this video. And please don't judge Macy too quickly, because it's very easy to say I would never do that when you're sitting safely on the other side of the screen. Sometimes people make decisions they normally wouldn't make because they are emotionally attached, because they believe somebody's promises, or because they genuinely think they're helping the person they love. But unfortunately, Macy was about to discover that sometimes the person you're helping isn't planning to help you in return. Now, here's where this story goes from uncomfortable to absolutely unbelievable. The event happened, and according to Macy, the event was successful and money was made, which meant she naturally expected Tim to keep the promise he had made before she gave him the money. She wasn't demanding anything unreasonable. She wasn't asking for extra money. She wasn't asking him to give her some huge gift. She simply expected the man who had borrowed her money to give it back. But instead of doing that, he packed his bags and returned abroad. And almost immediately after leaving the country, his communication with Macy completely changed. The phone calls became fewer. The messages stopped. The conversations disappeared. And eventually, nothing. My viewers, imagine sitting there knowing that somebody has your money, knowing that you trusted this person enough to help them, and then realizing that they had completely disappeared and don't even seem interested in explaining what happened. Macy was left confused, angry, hurt, and of course wondering what she had done wrong. She waited. She gave him space. She tried not to chase him because she didn't want to look desperate. But the longer the silence continued, the more she started to realize that something was seriously wrong. Then after weeks of silence, Macy's phone suddenly lit up. It was Tim. Now my subscribers, if somebody disappeared after borrowing your money and then suddenly contacted you weeks later, what would you expect that message to say? Would you expect, "I'm sorry, maybe I've been dealing with a lot," or perhaps, "Here's the money I owe you"? Well, nope. This man had the nerve to send Macy a message saying, "I am imitating you. I'm imitating your silence. I am imitating you. I am imitating your silence." My viewers, I had to read that twice because how are you going to disappear from somebody and then accuse them of being silent? How are you even going to take somebody's money, leave the country, stop communicating, and then come back acting like you are the victim? That moment, Macy realized that Tim wasn't simply avoiding a difficult conversation. He was just trying to flip the entire situation around. And my subscribers, if you have ever dealt with somebody who does this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They do something wrong, you confront them, and suddenly you are the problem. You ask where your money is, and suddenly you're too aggressive. You ask why they disappeared, and suddenly you're starting drama. You ask for accountability, and somehow you're the one who needs to apologize. And that is exactly what made Macy furious. My viewers, Macy had reached a point where she wasn't interested in hearing another excuse, another promise, or another smooth explanation from Tim. She wanted one simple thing, her money back. So she confronted him. She asked him directly about the money she had loaned him, and instead of showing genuine concern about the situation or taking responsibility for what had happened, you know what he did? He responded in a way that made Macy even more upset. The man acted cold. He acted dismissive. He acted like she was bothering him simply because she wanted her money. the money that belonged to her. And at that point, Macy completely lost her patience. She told him exactly how she felt. She cursed him out. She let all out her anger that had been building up inside her. And then Tim sent her another message. No apology, no explanation, no emotional conversation, just 5 simple words. Send me your bank account number. No, my viewers, you might think that sounds like a good thing because maybe he was finally preparing to send her back her money. But by this point, Macy wasn't looking at him the same way anymore. She had started asking questions. She had started listening to people. She had started doing her own digging. And what she began hearing about her question, whether the relationship she thought she had experienced was ever what she believed it was. According to what Macy discovered, there were claims that Tim had allegedly used similar tactics with other women, getting close to them, gaining their trust, making them emotionally attached, and then borrowing money from one person to another for his businesses. And once he had what he wanted, he would allegedly disappear. Now, my viewers, imagine sitting there and realizing that what you thought was a unique love story between you and one special person might actually have been part of a pattern. Imagine realizing that all those conversations, all those promises, all those moments when you thought this man really understands me might have meant something completely different to him. That really realization would break anybody's heart. And that's when Macy started asking herself the biggest question of all. Was I actually his girlfriend, or was I simply his next target? My beautiful viewers and subscribers, by this point, Macy's heart was broken, but something else had changed. She was finally seeing Tim without the rose-colored glasses. She wasn't looking at the charming promoter anymore. She wasn't looking at the man who made her feel beautiful. She wasn't looking at the man she thought she could build a future with. She was looking at the behavior. And sometimes, my viewers, behaviors tell you everything that somebody's words are trying to hide. That is why I always say that you would never let attraction, chemistry, money, or promises make you ignore your common sense. If somebody you have known for a short while starts asking you for a significant amount of money, especially when you haven't had enough time to really understand their financial situation or their intention, please slow down. I'll repeat that. Please slow down and think carefully before you put your hard-earned money at risk. Because once the money leaves your hands, getting it back can become completely a difficult task. Now, before you leave this video, my beautiful viewers and subscribers, I really want to hear from you, because this channel isn't just about me sitting here and telling stories. I want bits of everything to be a place where we can actually talk, share our experiences, learn from one another, and maybe even help somebody recognize a red flag before they make the same mistake. So tell me the honest truth in the comments. Have you ever trusted somebody who ended up completely disappointing you? Have you ever loaned somebody money and had to fight to get it back? Or have you ever had a friend who ignored every red flag because she was completely in love? Tell me what happened, because you never know who might be reading your comments and realizing that you are not the only person who has experienced something like this. And if this story had you sitting there saying, "Girl, please protect your money," then don't just sit there watching. Hit that like button, because that lets me know you enjoyed this story and want me to continue bringing you more content like this. If you're new here, welcome to Bits of Everything, and I would absolutely love for you to become part of my growing family. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications, because you don't want to miss what happens next. And all my loyal subscribers who support me by watching, commenting, and sharing, I want you to know that I genuinely appreciate every single one of you, because every view, every like, every comment, every share, and every new subscription helps this channel grow. So please, if you know somebody who needs to hear this story, share the video with your best friend, your sister, your cousin, or that one friend who keeps giving men the benefit of the doubt when the red flags are practically waving in your face. And if you stayed with me all the way from the beginning to the end, I want you to know that you're part of the real Bits of Everything family. So go down into those comments right now and type "protect your purse." I want to see how many of my viewers and subscribers actually made it all the way to the end. And remember this one thing: before you leave, a pretty face is